Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Hangout. It is good to be along with you on a Friday afternoon. We're going to talk a little technology. By the way, I sound like I'm doing an evening DJ introduction. We're going to talk a little technology. We're going to play the hits. Keep those requests coming. 244 rock, 244 roll. We had two request lines when I worked at WPGU in Champaign-Urbana because we were 107 Rocks, Rock 107, and we had 244 Rock, 244 Roll. Those both were this. They went to the same line. There were not two different lines, but you could call either one. I wonder if it was confusing for people to see, to be like, "Oh, which one do I choose?" If they didn't really know. Good evening, Zoe. Good evening, Nick. Good evening, Chris. And good evening, coming people. Iyaz is going to be joining us. He's gonna pop in here in a little bit, say hello. I know a few other people said that they might try to join, so we'll see who all shows up. It'll be a hoot. I actually haven't chatted with Iyaz in a minute. It's literally been more than a minute, just in case you're wondering, but. That's what they say these days. It's been a minute. That's what the kids say. I'm still just getting everything all set up here. What do you guys want to hear me talk about today? I'm always willing, especially on the office hours earlier in the week, but I'm always willing to just chat with folks. There's Iyaz.
Hello.
Welcome, Iyaz. How are you?
I'm good. Are you hearing me okay?
Yes, and we are live, by the way. So.
All right, great. So hello, everybody.
But yeah. No, you're using the earbud mics, I'm guessing.
No, I'm using the mics from the MacBook. I did a little test with my piece of the Galaxy Buds, and like the MacBook Pro's audio sounded way cleaner. So
than the Buds. Okay.
Yeah. It sounded like I was on
if you're using the laptop, sounds good. Amos is lurking backstage, judging me for saying that, though.
I'm trying to. My title there says "Experimenter at Large" because I am trying the Safari version of StreamYard today.
Right, StreamYard. A lot of people don't know we even use StreamYard to do our streams, but if you do, you may not know that it only works. It's optimized for Chrome. It works in Firefox. It did not work in Safari. If you went to Safari, it would tell you need to use a different browser. Sorry.
You could get into the back rooms and things like that and download files, but you couldn't actually do the stream itself.
And I assume that's because the way StreamYard works is it records you locally in your browser's cache and then uploads that to StreamYard. And I guess they hadn't figured out how to do that in Safari.
It's been a consistent problem with services like StreamYard where they work with Chromium, but they don't work with Safari or at WebKit or whatever Safari is based on. So this is the first time I've seen Safari actually used by a service like this, but then this is the only one I'm currently using. So, but it became available this morning, so I figured I'd try it today.
It looks good.
We'll see. We'll see if it's any more stable or has it any fewer problems than we've had before. So throughout the this little hangout, I'll be trying different stuff. Don't pay any mind to me.
Pay no attention to the man in Alaska.
Yeah. Iyaz, hi. Haven't seen you in a while.
Hey, how are you doing other than the experiment?
I was actually distracted this morning, Tom. I had water dripping down my window over here in the studio. And I was like, oh man, did we leave some water on? Is there a water leak? What is going on?
Pipe burst, something like that.
Right. So I'm going through the house, checking the pipes, checking everything's turned off. I step outside. It was the frost from the roof melting off. We had frost on our roof this morning, like a thick layer of frost.
It's that time. It's that time of year.
It catches me off guard every year.
You're like, whoa, where'd that come? Oh, right.
Oh, yeah. I'm in Alaska. It's October. Duh.
You have any frost in New York, Iyaz?
We might have it this weekend. We've had crazy weather. Right now it's 62. It was 47 this morning, and like 2 days ago it was 80 degrees. It's like New England here, and it's really, it needs to stop. So let's pick a wardrobe and stick with it. But layers are the way to go here.
It's 85 here right now.
Well, That's usually what my apartment is like because I'm in this stack.
Because you want to be toasty.
Well,
What are you
it's-
drinking
well,
there?
it's-
You have
this
a
is
little coffee?
Coffee.
Yeah.
This is a
What kind of
and this
coffee?
it is an espresso, Starbucks Sumatra.
Oh, okay. So it's Starbucks made the pod for Nespresso, and then you make it in. Oh, nice.
Yeah.
I've had
It's
the
the
blue bottle
Vertuo.
Nespresso. I don't know if I've had the Starbucks one.
Well, Liz got this coffee maker for free at work, and so
Ah.
of course it's only compatible with Vertuo. So I have to look
That's
for
it.
compatible.
That happened to us too. I think it's a scam to get people to buy the Vertuo capsules because they're more expensive. But Eileen got given a Vertuo machine at work. Same thing.
And the capsules here though are recyclable straight out within New York City. So that's kind of a neat thing. We can just throw it in the
You just throw them in the
things.
trash, or not trash, the recycling bin.
In
yeah.
recyclables, yeah. So that.
Oh,
and
wow.
They said there's no special anything you need to do.
Oh, that's
and
cool.
I keep reading this because Liz is like, "What are you doing? Why are you throwing that in the recycling?" I'm like, "Look, it says it here," and I'm
You
thinking
can do
like,
it.
"Hey, you can trust Nestle, right?" No,
Oh, of course. Name one time the Nestle Corporation has ever proven itself untrustworthy. I dare you.
I do.
You
I
can't.
don't
You can't
know.
do it.
I can't. No.
Oh man. Well, I don't know what you were thinking we would chat about, but I was going to ask you how things are going in the world of tech journalism in 2025, because
Oh, boy.
you're in the midst of things over there at PC Mag.
Yeah. Well, it's ugly. It's ugly.
Yeah. What is ugly about
everywhere.
it?
No, just the job market is pretty ugly. I'm just talking
But
about.
you
like,
have
if
you have
PC
one right now, right?
Oh yes.
Okay.
At PC Mag, I'm good there. But
Yeah, yeah.
like the big concern constantly is the AI situation of who's writing what and what can be used properly. So it's kind of strange because we're trying to figure out how to write to not sound like AI at times.
So you don't get
But-
don't get people accusing you, and then you have to prove that you're a human.
I loved M dashes and now I can't use them ever again. So
No, really. Like the editorial team has said no more M dashes. You
Oh, no,
sound
no.
like AI.
they didn't say that, but that's
No,
something
it's
that
just it's just something
ChatGPT
you're
does.
taking into account because you don't
Oh,
want to
yeah.
get. Yeah, okay.
And that's not the argument I want to have with people who's like, "Oh, your review
Right,
isn't right because you have this."
But it's not a
M dash."
style thing. It's just a personal.
No,
It's a
personal
chilling effect on M dashes, basically.
thing. Yeah, so I mean, PC Mag's team is doing quite well right now, and there's a lot of cross-brand stuff because ZD owns us. So I'm working. This is one of the screwiest things. I'm working with CNET a lot, which
Yo,
is
funny. Yeah.
it's really weird, and Mashable and Lifehacker and all these other guys. So there's so far it's a very lean team everywhere. So journalism itself is a thing. I want to hope it continues, but like there's a lot of influencer marketing or influencer situations that are taking away a lot of review opportunities because, if you say, hey, that device isn't very good versus like, hey, let me give you this device early and you just say
Uh-huh.
really good things about it. So
Yeah.
that's kind of a tricky thing that we're working on. But I'm just a lowly writer, so I'm just trying to
Do you do any product reviews, or you just what's your beat?
Yes, I do product reviews frequently, so that's my main gig. So
Yeah,
I
yeah,
review
that's
phones.
what I thought.
Yeah, I review smartphones and I review tablets. I review eSIMs, which was strange at first, but eSIMs are now everywhere, so deal with it. Let's see what else I do. Mobile networks occasionally, like Boost was in New York. I keep forgetting that Boost makes, if Boost, if you're watching, I know you are an independent wireless carrier. It used to be a sub brand, and then it's like its own thing. So
And then it's
in New
spun
York,
out.
they're super fast. But
They're
it's
still an MVNO. They're still using the carrier.
they have their own stuff. They're building their own network.
So they're not even they're not an MVNO at all?
No,
Boost-
as
really?
far as I know,
Huh.
they're no longer an MVNO.
Okay. When you said you're independent, I thought you meant like not owned by Verizon or AT&T like Mint or somebody is, but
It's owned
But
by
you're saying, like,
EchoStar.
yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah.
Okay, so it does use some AT&T and T-Mobile, but they're building an actual network. So
But if they're owned by
that's the thing.
EchoStar, they're using EchoStar Spectrum because EchoStar owns a bunch. I know they sold some recently and made a big bunch of headlines, but yeah. Okay. All right.
Yeah,
so
so
they're owned by
they're building
EchoStar, but they're building they have their own spectrum that they can use.
Yeah, so like right now in New York, it's super fast, but it also could be the lack of users on the service. I don't know how many people are on there, but the last review I did was the Galaxy Tab. This is the fun part of it, trying to remember the names of everything. The Samsung Galaxy Tab S11 Ultra, a 14.6-inch Android tablet, which is amazing if you like watching sports while you're watching TV. And I've been watching the playoffs on it, and it was very depressing at the end, but it's a very nice
anyone
tablet.
doesn't know, Iyaz is a Yankees fan, and they just lost their division series. I'm sorry to hear that. I'm sorry for your loss.
Yeah, it's there's that massive tablet with a little tiny notch at the top. I'm still not sure why that has to be there, but
what is that notch? Is that a camera?
Yep, there's one camera in there. It's the slightest little thing, and you barely see it. But and photographing these things are a real pain, I gotta say, because I gotta photograph these things. Like I'm right there. I'm at the Museum of Natural History.
Okay.
Outside,
oh,
and
that's nice.
To the point where the security guards know me because I'm always in very weird positions trying to do stuff, and they're like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "Oh, I do this." So every now and then I'll talk to the guards, and they're asking me, "Which phone should I get?" And I'm like,
"Okay, all right." They're like,
So,
"You give us some free tech advice. We won't bother you while you're taking your pictures." So.
Yeah, that's a 14.6 inches. That tablet. The S Pen is really nice. It's like an old number 2 pencil, like a wooden one, a hexagonal. It feels like drawing with a pencil. So it's very cool. This is basically the iPad Pro of Samsung devices and Android devices. So that was the last thing I wrote. And now I'm working on a rugged tablet.
Oh,
love rugged tablet.
Love a rugged tablet.
I just love being able to take stuff apart.
You just popped up the back. Wow.
Yeah.
Those are the batteries?
There are 2 individual
That's
batteries.
great.
You can hot swap. So like if I pop this back in, it's going to be back to normal. Right there, like it's not restarting. It just went kind of into a sleep mode while you had the battery out. Yeah, I don't know how long you can do that. I haven't tested that part out yet.
Well, there's 2 batteries back there, so I assume the one battery keeps it. If you took both of them out, would it die then?
Let's see.
Yeah, let's find out.
I haven't tried that yet. All right, so
I wonder if there's like a little watch battery in there for just keeping in sleep mode or something.
So right now both of them are out.
Yeah.
Pop them in.
And then we'll pop them back in.
And
that's great though. That's so easy to get at the batteries. That's crazy.
The batteries are keyed. So when you take 2 out,
when you took 2 out, it was using one of the batteries to. Yeah. But theoretically, you could pull one of the batteries out and refresh it with a new battery, then pull the other one out, refresh it. You could swap both batteries. You just have to do them one at a time.
Well, there's that, and I didn't. I could have just hooked this up to USB-C power. And I think it might work because they talked about, like in the press materials,
that would make sense.
It can operate with no batteries because if you want to have
as long as you've got power coming into it. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is the Samsung Galaxy Tab Active 5 Pro, and there's no space between Active and 5. It kind of reminds me.
Is it a numeral 5?
It's a number. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
It reminds me of the touchpad so much. It's got a 10.1-inch display, LCD. But like you can use hand sanitizer on this to clean it. It's so weird that I'm like, I want this instead of everything else. Like they're so thin and they're beautiful and they're great to carry. But like you can drop this thing from over a meter, 1.8 meters with the case, and it should be fine.
Galaxy Tab Active 5, Activiz Pro 5G. Got it.
Yep, that's it. That's the 5G version is a little bit more expensive at $7.
Okay, so they have a non. Oh yeah,
$659 space.
There's the non. Yeah.
Yep. And so this is like an enterprise level tablet. And so here's the other thing I really enjoy about these kinds of enterprise level stuff. The backwards compatibility thing is something that they tout. They said, hey, look, we know you've paid a lot for your infrastructure.
Yeah.
So if you want to use the old devices with pogo pins or whatever, we got you covered. So like the enterprise people get like a much better deal than the consumers because we're just like, I can't even use my case if I move from phone to phone.
Yeah.
Right. Like these are, I believe you can use these devices with those little microphone, basically those little clip-on microphones, like you see police officers have them and security guards, a little walkie-talkie style thing.
Oh, so yeah. No, I know what you're talking about. The classic, like 145 kind of. Yeah.
Yeah. So
hey, Hammond.
Hey, how's it going?
Good.
Hello.
Hello. How are you?
Room. I'm good. That's a beautiful room.
Do you guys know each other?
No, I don't think we've ever spoken.
Oh,
Iyaz, meet Hammond. Hammond is an
Hello.
all-star producer and podcaster. Works a lot with myself and Scott Johnson and Coverville, Brian Ibbett, and folks. And of course, Iyaz Akhtar, all-star tech journalists. We podcasted together.
The name and reputation precedes you. So, yes, this is an honor for me.
Well, the feeling's mutual. So I'm glad to be here. I'm glad to chat with people about random tech things because
yeah, we were just talking about this rugged tablet. You're reviewing it right now, right?
Yeah. Oh, turn back. Wait a minute. So yeah, it powered back on.
Yes.
So that's great.
So when I was in the Air Force, they were transitioning from paper technical orders to fix airplanes and stuff like that over to the digital ones. First, it was with the IBM Tough Books or whatever, and then they started going to the iPads, and they were breaking all the time because, let's face it, aircraft maintainers are not careful with their tools. You're 60 feet up and working on the C5. You drop something, you're going to let it drop. You're not going to reach for it.
Yeah.
Something like that would just a rugged solution that was digital and customizable and still worked if it got a little wet or had to swap batteries. Like that was one of the big things. We couldn't swap batteries in iPads. That would be a huge boon to that particular market. I don't know why they went with iPads in the first place. I think because one size fits all. You can just make them all be the same. But yeah, something like that would have been way better.
And the security lockdown stuff is easy. Was at one time easier to manage. I'm not sure if it still is, but
It just drives me nuts that you can have a removable back. You can do all of these. You can still have a micro SD card in this. You can't do that with a lot of other stuff. This is IP68 rated and mil spec. So it's like you can do it. You can still have a 3.5 millimeter jack. This one does, which is neat. You can still have that and still be waterproof. And it's just it just keeps showing me that it's a choice to lose these legacy items like a headphone jack, like a micro SD card. It's like, oh, we don't have the space. It's like, sure you do. You just need to figure it out.
Well, no, I think if I might propose a theory, it is meeting demand. So when you look at enterprise products and you see all this stuff, it's because the enterprise folks actually do want it, actually do need it, and will use it, and will not buy a device that doesn't have it. Right? Like, they're like, no, we literally, that is mission critical to our business. And we're not joking around because this is for work, but we will also pay more than the consumer because we're an enterprise, and we'll buy a lot of them because we're an enterprise. So, when I hear that as a business owner, like, wait, I have a customer who would like to pay me a lot more per unit and buy a lot of units. What do you need? I will make it work. And when we're talking about consumers, what do we as consumers do? We're always cheaping out. We're always like, what's the cheapest price? I'm only going to buy one of them, but I want it as inexpensive as possible. And even though there are many of us, probably most of us on this call, who are like, yeah, I want a mini jack, I'm going to use it. Generally, consumers don't. I just think that's the thing you have to get used to when you're that person, is like, I'm in the minority here, and I'm only buying one of these, so my voice doesn't carry as much as an enterprise would.
And to counter that, a lot of the affordable phones have both. They have the headphone jacks and they have the micro SD. So if you do cheap out,
if you go cheap enough, that's a really good point.
It doesn't make sense. I'm just thinking, if I'm paying $17.99 for a Galaxy Fold 7 or 19, whatever, like, just give me the card slot. Or like, if you're going to spend $2,000, give me the option of, oh, look, I can use it for years instead of paying, the 1 terabyte version's expensive. But like, come on.
I have a feeling that you keep the headphone jacks on the old stuff because you're marketing to customers who don't upgrade their equipment a lot because they can't afford it. So they still have wired headphones, right?
Yeah, probably more secure, and it doesn't have to deal with a lot of interference on work sites as well. So
when you're talking about enterprise, absolutely. Yeah, 100%. But
if you want to look at the effects there, just remember how long Windows XP was still viable.
It was out of support, but you could still pay for patches for it because big enterprises were using it.
Because, by the way, the Department of Defense was still using it as of 2 years ago.
Well, I worked for our county government, and I left in 2017, and they were still using it.
Yeah. I know E. Clay Thomason is like, money talks. And it's like, yeah, it does. Like, and sometimes that comes with the connotation of like, they're screwing us consumers over because we don't have a lot of money. But also sometimes us consumers are too cheap. You know, it's like, be willing to pay for the thing you want. Like, I'm not saying like overpay, but you know, if it's a difference between $100 and $150, you know, I see people are like, I will not spend an extra $50 for that. I'm like, well, then they're not going to make it because, you know, that's how it works.
To add more to this, because Samsung and Google now support stuff for 7 years, this becomes more of an issue because you're going to run out of space over time. And yes, you can buy their cloud services and you can do that. And you can shoot 8K videos on these phones now. So like, yeah, you're going to fill up that space so that you're going to be sold a service. I've been thinking about doing either like a series or a line of this stuff of like subscription-free stuff because it's so irritating to just be like, hey, look, I need a hammer. Oh, I need to pay you $20 a month for the hammer? Let me just buy the hammer.
No. You need to pay us $20 a month for our tool subscription plan, which will give you more than just a hammer. I know you only need a hammer, but look at all of these other tools you don't need that are available. Isn't that worth $20 a month? Like, that's kind of what's going on, right?
Or we'll sell you the hammer for $20, but if you want to use the hammer, that's $1.99 a month.
or if you want to, you can hammer rubber nails with it. But if you want to hammer steel nails, that's an upgrade.
And by the way, we reserve the right to take the hammer from you at any point.
Oh, yeah. If you look in your toolbox and the hammer is gone one day, please check your terms of service.
You know, that's scary enough. You can see like the handle itself could be, it's rigid when it's like on, and it's not rigid when it's off. You're not paying.
The flaccid hammer.
Yeah, so you have this hammer that like you can kind of use, right? But it would be better if you paid more.
You want that hammer to have a little more heft?
Remember,
you know?
Yeah, every 30 days you got to take it and reconnect it to your Wi-Fi so it can re-authenticate so it can be a firm handle.
My hammer went limp. Is the Wi-Fi down?
Then you gotta root your hammer, and then you don't know what's gonna happen.
You root your hammer, and then next thing you know, the head just flies off, and you're like, well.
On the flip side, every once in a while you open your toolbox and there's a better hammer in there. They pushed an upgrade. They're like, hey, that's a nicer hammer.
What kind of security updates would there be on a hammer? Like, you know, you're hammering along and all of a sudden it just starts going off to the side because it got hacked, you know?
It didn't used to have the nail remover thing on the other end. Now it does. That's good.
Now it comes with other people's fingers to hold the nail.
Right. There's the optional like thumb guard. That's what you get.
That's
Jeez.
Oh,
that's
man,
awesome. Love it.
So you were mentioning earlier about influencers and getting review units and stuff. Like, let's talk a little more about that, because I think that's something people don't hear about. They'll see people who are on Instagram or TikTok with a product and go, oh, I didn't know they reviewed products. But there's a whole history of people like yourself, PC Mag and CNET and elsewhere, that are part of that, you know, NDA review process. Has that changed because of the influencers?
I think our process is pretty much the same, but getting the items is a little harder because I'm not going to speak particularly about any company directly or any person directly. Of course,
so and I wouldn't want you to. This is just speaking in general. Yeah.
Sometimes a company will have like a hashtag or something, and they want influencers that could make their product look great. Let's say you got a great camera on a phone. You got to explain, why are you paying for this phone? What's so great about it? You'll have these people say, it's great for this, that, and the other thing.
Yeah, so, it's when they send that new hammer out to be reviewed.
Yeah, so they're getting the hammer first, and it's working, you know, perfectly, and it's been spec'd out. But the thing is, they get it, and they usually are excited and will say positive stuff about the product because that's what keeps them in good standing with the company. Now, if you're in journalism, you can actually say, "Hey, this thing doesn't work like they say it does."
It's your job to say that. Yeah.
Here's an example, because I can say this because it makes me laugh each time. Every single time I use Galaxy AI's Portrait Studio, it turns me Asian. It changes my race. I've been white a couple of times or Asian. I've never been brown.
You've never been your own
Pakistani.
ethnicity.
No,
yeah.
Never been Pakistani. So I'm like, okay, at least it's consistently wrong, but I can tell you.
So like East Asian, Southeast Asian, or European, but no.
Yeah, you got to move to the subcontinent. Give me a little
right,
a little darker. And so when you have these influencers coming in and they're able to say, this device is amazing and it does that, they're probably not going to tell you what's a pain point, but we are going to tell you the pain points. So the way I see it and the way our company sees it, like we're offering buying advice. If we're going to separate you from your money, you better know everything. But influencers generally get to have the product, and they're getting paid by either in kind with stuff, or they're getting paid directly from the company. They're being put up in hotels. They pay for the flights.
Yeah.
That would be an issue with ethical concerns where I am. So there's a whole bunch of different rules.
Some of that stuff is like, I know in Europe, it's normal for journalists to get their flight and hotel paid for, but there's a culture of like, that doesn't mean I'm going to say anything nice. That's expected. You want me to cover it? You got to pay. Whereas in the US, it's like, no, we would never allow that. That would be undue
So in
influence.
Europe, they're paying for the coverage, not the opinion. Whereas in the US, they're paying for the opinion in addition to the coverage.
Well, for journalists in the US, they're not paying for anything. But for influencers, yes, they're paying for the opinion.
And to be clear, Iyaz, you're not saying that they're not going to, they're only saying good stuff. You're saying that the nuance isn't there. Like, yeah, this feature did work, but the influencer isn't going to tell you it took them 3 hours to get it to work.
They're gonna leave some stuff out maybe if it's not.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes you'll see the product shown in its best light.
Right.
And there's nothing wrong with something working well when it works. But like you were saying, if it took you 3 hours to make it work, like it's not that intuitive. But some of this, it's got to be, you have to be very careful on whose opinion you take on certain devices, because yes, everything is amazing now. I will say that I think we've reached peak phone. It does everything.
Yeah.
We can stop. We don't need to keep going, and we're just kind of tinkering with different things. So to find what's different with these devices from one to the other, you got to have a different
I think it's important to talk about that, because what I will say for influencers on their behalf, knowing a few out there that are reputable and good at their job, they're not lying to you. The good ones are. In fact, the ones that are lying to you get found out pretty fast and they get driven out. But they're not in the job of giving you a comprehensive review. What's going to happen is if they get a product and they don't like it, they're just not going to post about it.
Mm-hmm.
If they get a product and they post about it, they're going to be honest, but not comprehensive. So in other words, they'll say like, this is a pretty good hammer. It's $20 a month, but it does the job. They're not going to talk about the fact that it went loosey-goosey when the Wi-Fi went out, right? Because they're going to say, oh, well, Wi-Fi doesn't go out all that much, right? So it's not necessary for me to include that because I want to stay good relationships with the hammer maker. What you do at PC Mag and CNET, from my perspective, is you say, I'm going to look at this entire thing and say, these are all the things you should know about it. And then you can decide whether you want to buy it or not based on me giving you as much information as possible. And I'll make a recommendation too, if you just want to know, like, what would you do, Iyaz, right? Does that seem fair to characterize it that way? That
sounds about right. I'm just thinking about, again, I'm stuck on the software stuff of Galaxy AI. Like you have to test everything, like comprehensively.
Right.
Like I've tried.
Well, that's another good point, right? The influencers may not be leaving anything out. They just didn't try certain things.
Or you'd be someone like me who does it and it works fine. Because
you're not putting it through its paces, right?
Yeah, I'm not fitting that one specific nuance that doesn't work.
Well, I'm thinking like I'm saying about Galaxy AI, it has like 10, 15 different features, and I've got to test it on the S25, S25 Plus, S25 Ultra, like they all perform the same, which is good because that's what Samsung says it does.
Yeah.
But like you have to run those tests, each one. Like you can't just say
they also all consistently make you Swiss.
Yes. I've tried different expressions on my face. I thought, okay, maybe I'm
so weird.
Maybe I'm squinting too much. Maybe my eyes are too big. I don't know what I'm doing. So like I tried to do like a mugshot thing, and it still doesn't work. Now, what's neat though is if you're looking at your camera roll and you're scrolling by fast, I see a passing resemblance to me. I'm like, oh, it's kind of there. If my glasses are off and it's really small, it kind of looks like me. But when I look at it in full size, it's like, no. I have full beard. It's not a goatee. And I don't. They have much better chins than I do. It's a very square lantern.
Have you
jaw.
tried like VO3 or Sora as well?
I have not, just out of humanity and my idea of trying to stay sane right now.
Yeah. Okay.
I've been seeing so much of it online that it kind of makes me, I won't say nervous, but I have to try it just for, for sake of knowing technology. But
Sure.
What do you know about it?
Well, I've only messed around with VO3 in a very limited fashion, but it is kind of crazy what it can do from a text prompt. With Sora, I've been messing around with the Sora app quite a bit, and that's the one that you can scan yourself and put yourself in. Like you can do that with VO3, but Sora makes it easy. Like that's part of the onboarding process is, scan yourself and then you can put yourself in your videos. You can decide whether you want your friends or anyone else to put you in videos. And it is unexpected how it works, but it does seem to work well across all different types of people. I will say that. Like every once in a while at work, it does some weird things to people where like, that's not right, but it's not consistent. Most of the time people do look like who they are. And I would say that goes across ethnicities and different body types and all of that. So that's why I asked. I was curious if, given your experience with the Galaxy AI, you'd tried the other ones and seen if it had the same effect or not.
I might try it later. Just I don't know what things I would want me to do in a fantasy world. Like I saw a friend of mine put himself at a coin toss at a football game. I thought that was kind of neat because I thought for a second I'm like, wait, Scott's doing this, and I'm like, oh my god, I fell for it. It's like, oh, here's the little mark.
I don't post mine outside of Sora. I kind of made a pact with myself. Like this belongs in here because I feel like that's what it's meant for. Putting it outside of Sora would be out of context anyway, unless I'm saying, here's an example of a Sora video, right? But I don't recommend that. However,
this reminds me of when I was in high school. There was this rash of going to get pictures taken, and they put you on magazine covers, so it made you feel like you were on Sports Illustrated or something.
Man of the Year. Yep.
Yeah. No, you can do that times 100,000. Here's me as a 90-year-old man complaining on my porch. It just, aged me up.
You look good for 90.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, really good.
Yeah.
I thought it was quite complimentary. I had the 1927 Yankees play the 1978 Montreal Canadiens in rugby. There's Eileen winning an award at the Mamas. Sarah's eating some chili relleno. There's Brian Ibbett in a 50s movie. This is an ad for Back Buddies, clones of your pet that grow out of your back. There's Andrew Main explaining things to me. There's that.
Wait, that was your prompt? The Back Buddies was. Why did you come up with that at all?
Always with you. Meet Back Buddies, the first company to clone your pet's face, throw it painlessly on your back. Your best friend, always with you.
It's an Instagram style ad for a company that clones your pet's face and grows it on your back.
For every pet, for every body, grown with your.
Were you watching Total Recall or something? That little
I don't know. No, you know what? I had seen one too many Instagram ads for like, put your pet's face on a doormat, put your pet's face on a picture. And I was like, okay, what if we could just clone your pet's face? And
see, this is more like a psychological dive into who Tom Merritt is.
Yeah, I think so. Mayonnaise, the hot sauce of the Midwest. Yeah, commercial. So yeah, I don't know. This is what I've been doing with it. Earlier on, I was putting myself in more of them.
Now you're putting your friends, which makes me nervous.
I put my friends in there. I tend to, I tend to make a lot of them that just don't have anybody I know in them anymore. But I made my dog talk and explain quantum tunneling.
Okay. Now, if and when I get a pet, We're looking to get
this ball, and there's a hill in front of you that's taller than you can jump. Classical physics says you're stuck, but in the quantum world, you're a wavy little probability cloud. Part of that wave sneaks through the hill, and sometimes... Okay, so imagine...
Oh, okay.
I turned it off.
Yeah, I think that making pets talk, that definitely sounds like fun to do.
Yeah.
Just because...
Here's Gerald Ford trying to convince people he was once president. No one believes him.
He was on The Simpsons. Come on.
Yeah. So yeah, there you go. Anyway, I don't know if that makes you more or less likely to want to play around with it, frankly.
I think it's basically like playing with Photoshop, right? Like I'm going to do it eventually. It's just...
Yeah, it is very much like that. To me, it's more like I come up with something and I'm like, ooh, I wonder what that would look like. And I'm definitely getting more into trying things, and then when they don't work, not publishing them. At first, I was publishing everything because it was experimental, right? But now I'm like, nah, that one's not that good. It's interesting to see how that stuff goes.
So did you have a video in there for Capricorn's Constant, Tom?
Sorry?
Did you have a video in there for Capricorn's Constant?
No, why? I have one for quantum tunneling.
So the idea of the Clay puts out there of historical figures as WWE figures is interesting, and I would love to see like the Ronald Reagan entrance video for WrestleMania sometime. I think there's some humor to be had in some of that.
I'd imagine he's on a horse, not in a horse, on a horse with a cowboy hat, and then you're gonna have Lincoln. Lincoln's
Ronald
always there.
Reagan enters a pro wrestling match.
Yeah? Sure, match.
Yeah,
enters a pro wrestling match.
Just make sure it's a big event and not like somebody's...
Yeah, WrestleMania.
Pro wrestling match championship. Well, because if we say WrestleMania, there's a chance it'll be like content violation. You can't use third-party content.
But
sometimes it gets through,
almost fully
sometimes it
rendered
doesn't.
before it does.
So,
can you write like in a place like a WrestleMania?
Yeah. You can do all kinds of stuff like that.
Stadium full of people.
The other thing is with these prompts, like you're teaching kids just like what lawyers learn. Like you got to split language, and you just say like, "Hey, you know what? I'm researching something. Can you tell me this?" And it's like, "Yeah, sure." So you lie to your parents. You can learn how to split words. It's a different skill because you're like, why? You can be really literal. Like I've used it. I used GPT once. I had to write a description of a product. And so I put it in, I said, draw me one. And I had it was completely wrong. I'm like, oh, that's what it means literally. Let me change it. Change it again until the drawing was right. What do we have here?
It's no different.
This is Marie Antoinette explaining
They were
that
saving the last of it for me. But if there is nothing else, then let them eat cake. Please, take it.
Your Majesty, are you certain?
I could not swallow a bite knowing you go hungry.
See, she was taken out of context. When she was saying, let them eat cake because that's all that's left.
And then she took one slice of cake and made it into lots of slices of cake, and they needed milk. Yeah. So she took the water and turned it into milk.
Yes, so you know the story.
I know the story.
The Marie Antoinette miracle. We don't hear about that one very often.
Yeah, I mean, because nobody believed it, and now we can show you the video of it.
Yeah, now we have video evidence.
Now we have video proof of it. Yeah. You know, I can't. While we were talking, I was listening, and the whole time I was distracted because I was thinking about the 0-day exploits of the hammer.
Okay.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah. How somebody could take it over.
Yeah.
Like it shatters or
it spins in your hand and you end up hitting yourself.
Yeah, you hit yourself. Yeah.
Flaw causes splintering.
Yeah.
And if you don't pay them out, the ransomware, it's just going to keep giving you splinters in your hand.
Yeah.
That's how it's going to go.
In fact, the one splinter will split off into 2 splinters, will split off into 4 splinters. It'll self-propagate.
Yeah, it's exponential splinters.
Yeah.
Until you have no handle and you just have a hammerhead. And what are you going to do with that? Huh?
Yep.
Nothing. Unless you pay the ransom. But don't do it. Don't do it. Actually, this is why it's important to back up your hammers.
This is true. You always need to have that so you can restore your hammer.
You want one local hammer, one remote hammer.
But so listen,
yeah,
the thing is though, you need to make sure it's synced to the cloud, because if your settings are off, your hammer won't work the way you like it. You know, I'm a lefty when it comes to this, and it needs to be done a certain way. Here's Ronald Reagan at WrestleMania 10, it looks like.
championship match.
Well, I suppose there's a first time for everything.
Listen to this crowd, absolutely electric. Ladies and gentlemen, you are witnessing history. The Gipper himself is riding in a...
Okay, so there's a rumor for John Cena's last match that a certain president might show up because of his links to the WWE. And so that crazy video you saw there could happen. It's also happened in WrestleMania 26.
I don't think Ronald Reagan can show up anymore.
You want to bet? I mean, I'm just very scared if somebody just said, yeah, Reagan's back from the dead, how many people will believe it at this point? Because you can just say anything and people are like, yeah, that's true.
Well, that's why I made this video of Franklin Pierce's advisors trying to convince him to go on Sora, and he says, no, I refuse.
Ooh, I probably could use this to make Twilight Zone episodes.
Oh,
I
yeah,
like that.
You definitely could.
So,
or lost episodes of MASH.
Yes, there have been a couple of those with friends of ours cast in them.
It'd be very Forrest Gump. Here I am in the background. Look, see, there I am in Moana 2.
Yeah. Anyway, I feel like all my conversations devolved to Sora at some point, so I apologize. But I was bringing it up in relation to the Galaxy AI stuff because there's a lot of hopscotching going on, right? When Nano Banana hit and then it was revealed it was Google and then VO3 came out, suddenly everybody was like, that's the thing, that's the future, Google has the lead. And then OpenAI put out Sora. I know in a couple of weeks we'll get something else. There's just a lot of that leapfrogging happening. It's difficult, I think, for companies like Samsung and Apple to keep pace with that because they're not developing in-house at the level that Google, OpenAI, Anthropic, et cetera are.
Yeah, that's not their main gig anyway, right? They're doing hardware and services sales. It's a strange reality. And the other thing I always get concerned about, even though I enjoy using AI to figure out very, very ridiculous like travel plans and how many pairs of clothes do I need or whatever, I keep thinking about the environmental impact of like how much electricity I'm using just to do something stupid. And I'm like, I have to, this is weird. Like if I want to care about the future, I need to not see Ronald Reagan, at WrestleMania.
But do you consider that for everything you do? Because I think there is a little overemphasis of, that Ronald Reagan video you just did was like running a microwave for an hour. It's like, yeah, but how much was checking my email? How much was Twitter? How much was Instagram? How much was posting
or even
Instagram?
This?
Because a lot of the stats around AI have to do with training, which is intensive. And I'm not trying to minimize it, but then people apply that to inferencing, which is much, much less power intensive. And the inferencing, it starts to be similar to other things we do on the internet. And I'm not saying that to dismiss the concern. I'm just saying we do need to think holistically about this isn't a problem of AI. This is a problem. This is just an actual problem. And if fixing AI or not doing AI doesn't fix that problem. We have to do much more than that. And in fact, if we fix the problem, my theory is that we probably end up fixing the AI problem as well, because we come up with better, cleaner sources of power.
Yeah, so once we get on-device AI to be as good as the cloud AI, then you could think the cloud's going to do more because you're going to keep pushing it. That's just like, theoretically, we shouldn't be working 5 days a week because, work can be done in 3 days or 4 days. It's like, no, it's just more work.
But the other side of that is the data center that existed in 2005 couldn't do what we do now at the power levels we have. We are making things more power efficient and more powerful as we go along as well. I'm not saying that as so don't worry about it. I'm like, but don't get too catastrophic. There are other things at play as well to help. And if we focus on doing all the things that are going to help for everything, instead of focusing on denying ourselves something all the time, I think that is more productive. And again, I'm not saying that because I want to make more Ronald Reagan horse videos. I'm just like, I don't think if we focus on that solves the problem. That's all.
I mean, I think denying myself stuff is kind of built in. Born a Muslim, went to Catholic.
Yeah.
So
you just Catholics aren't that far off, honestly. I totally.
Yeah, you got like Lent. So it's basically, sure, I'll give this up for 30 days or 40 days. And then I go whole hog. So yeah, you can put that in as a Sora prompt. Iyaz goes whole hog on AI. So I don't even know how long that I'll probably
the
do
day
that
after
later.
Lent.
The day after, of course. Yeah, we'll put an Easter bonnet on me
during Eid or something. Yeah. No, I think it's a tricky problem, and I think it's tough to discuss because a lot of people just want to immediately shut down the discussion. Like, no, you're wrong. This is bad. And I think it is speaking of nuance with like we were with reviews. I think it's important to discuss it with nuance as well. And it's tough because then people go, so you don't care. And I'm like, well, no, I do care. That's why I'm trying to think about this so much.
Yeah, it's annoying because nuance is not picked up easily in writing, it seems like, anymore. And the amount of clarifications you need to do. This completely reminds me of law and law school. Like, I went to law school, and so in the Constitution is pretty simple theoretically, right? But it's got tons of cases. Then you have the tax code, which is really, really specific, and it has the same amount of litigation. So it doesn't matter how you explain this. You could say kind of vaguely, people are going to interpret it one way. You come up with the most comprehensive version of it, and people are going to think there's something wrong with this still. So like, trying to get people to make the leap to go, oh, that's why. I'm not talking about the AI at this point, but the different products are different. That's why this is. I get asked the question all the time: iPhone or Android, and it always breaks down to like, what do you want to do?
Yeah, that's every product recommendation. Really, it's not products aren't good or bad. Products are good or bad at certain things.
Right, like the hammer.
Yeah, if someone's like, is that hammer right for me? I want to screw a lot of screws into the wall. I'd be like, no, don't get the hammer. It's bad.
Also, but even there's specific types of hammers for jobs. I mean, you can use a finishing hammer or a framing hammer or whatever. So, I mean, you can't use a framing hammer to put in, cloth tacks into a piece of furniture.
Pick a side, Hammond. Which hammer is best? That's kind of the attitude out there.
Yeah, it is. It is. It's the tribalism of hammers.
Apple or Android hammers?
I'm going to go third party with Sledge. Because you know what? It can do it all. But it requires a lot of control, though. If you want to do finishing with the Sledge, you can do it. You just got to be very careful. It's very powerful. But if you want to, you can't use a finishing hammer.
Actually, it's the most powerful hammer on the market.
That's right. We think you're going to love it. I think what you brought up is a really good point, Iyaz, that it's not about what you write. The tax code thing really gelled for me. If there is a motivation, someone will try to get around what you said, right? With the tax code, it's, I'm going to save a lot of money if I can figure out how to get around this tax code. So as precise as it has been made, people are going to try to figure out how to get around it. And with things we write or say on the internet, if someone's motivated, like, I need to make sure that what I'm right about is what is spread, then it doesn't matter what you say. They are going to twist words or take out of context or come down on you for it.
Yeah, this reminds me a little bit about when I worked for the county, and I was involved with writing policy. And you start with a policy, and then someone comes along and does something. You're like, oh, well, there's that exception, and then you have to write that in.
Yeah, right.
And then another thing comes up, and all these variables start popping up, and you literally can't write for every variable because, I mean, every person brings their own freakiness to the equation. And after a while, you scrap all the variables and go back to the thing and then throw in the line about, let's use common sense. Well, throw that out. I mean, you're in this constant battle of what you cover and what you don't cover when it comes to almost anything.
Yeah.
I just wish everything was like the speed limit sign. It says 55. But it doesn't say if you have an emergency, it's you can go faster. If it's snowy out, you should go slower. It's like, yeah, you know the rule. It says 55. It's printed there. You know what it means, like the spirit of the law concept.
Which 5?
That was actually something I was really good at when I was in the Air Force, is reading the regulation and being like, well, here's
figuring out a way around
area.
it. Yeah.
You know, this is what they said, but is this what they meant?
Yeah. And with that amount of regulations, I imagine you had to get pretty good at it too.
Well, depends on what you were trying to do, but yeah.
It reminds me of how you can tell how long someone has rented out their Airbnb by how thick their rule book is.
That's a fair point.
Yeah. If you have a one sheet, it's like, oh, they have never rented this before, have they? Like,
that explains the binder I had.
Yeah.
I didn't quite understand why I'm like, this is really fancy. It's like a hotel. It's like, this is a binder of rules and how not to hit your head leaving, which is a weird thing.
Yeah.
Somebody hit their head at some point, and they had to put that in there.
And that's the thing is when you get policy put in place because of something you did, either you can be incredibly proud about that, or it will follow you till the day you retire.
Yeah.
Because of me, that's there. I like that.
Yeah,
it's called the Iyaz rule.
If you're the reason that we can't have more than like 2 electrical circuits in a bathroom, probably not the best way to be.
I wouldn't wear that on my sleeve if it were me, I guess.
I'll use my shaver in the shower.
Yeah. Well, and to tie this back into the product review thing, I think that is something that is important for people to understand, because I thought of a really good way to express this earlier today, and now I can't remember it. But I was thinking about the problem of people seeing information and feeling like they're fully informed, right? So when I see an influencer that does a TikTok about the hammer, I feel like, oh, okay, I trust that person. They haven't let me down. They're not lying to me. Now I know about that hammer, but I'm not fully informed, because Iyaz's full comprehensive review will actually give me more information and tell me everything I need to know. But we don't want the nuance, right? That's work. I don't want to have to go read that. I'd rather just have the TikTok video served to me without me having to do anything, because it knows me so well. And in 10 seconds, I feel like I'm informed.
There's also an aspect of that same thing, the opposite side of the token there, that Iyaz is going to do a great review. It's going to be very comprehensive. It's going to have all the different, the nuances of it. But Jim has a channel specific to the thing that I will use it for.
Ah, okay. Yeah, there's another aspect.
You know,
even
Iyaz
deeper, right?
might not have ever used it for this.
Sure.
But this person is going to tell me how it's effective here or ineffective here.
Right.
And
that's not an influencer. That's an enthusiast.
Right. You know, but either way, like the multiple views, even the influencer market or whatever else, you're going to find those little niches that aren't going to be filled hardly anywhere else. That, you know, I just didn't know I was going to use a light switch to power my lawnmower. But
there's a whole YouTube channel called powering your mower with light switch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, light switches.
You know,
light switches are us.
So, you know, it does. There is a balance there. There's value to the multiple viewpoints and the different ways of presenting the information, things like that. And I think it all starts with the grounded, comprehensive review, like people like Iyaz do.
Yeah,
I can start with the influencer. Actually, it's kind of like, okay, my buddy said it was good, and then I'm going to read way more into it because that's just the way I am. Yeah. And then I'll do what Amos was saying, like, hey, yeah, I want to use this tablet as my home control. I want to make sure this thing always runs. I want to make sure it runs without batteries. I don't want the thing swelling up on the wall, like all of these different things. You just go. It's like school, right? You go to 101, 201, 301, and you start doing these really specific applications of these things. I don't know if people have the patience for that anymore, but that's me talking as an old man.
I think they do if it's something they care about. Like I use Logic Pro for everything I do, but as a podcaster, I only use about 4% of Logic Pro, and I know that. But when I first started learning to use Logic Pro, I went to the comprehensive thing and learned all about all the stuff it can do. And then I found a podcaster that uses it, and then I went specifically about how to use it as a podcast producer or a guy that does audiobooks or whatever. And now I'm really proficient in that 4%. I kill it in that 4%, but I go to 5%. I'm starting to get in the weeds. 10%. I'm in the dark.
And I use Audacity still. So
because you are
I'm the problem
kind of guy.
Because you hate yourself. That's why.
There's a big redesign coming up in Audacity.
There is, and it looks really good. Actually. Yeah.
Tom, here's this is Ethan Kane and Ace Detect on stage playing a heavy metal concert.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Look like
you look like you. I look like someone else.
But
we both look great.
So we can't see you. Maybe that's it.
Yeah, what happened to my hairstyle? I guess that's metal.
Yeah, boy, Tom, don't go metal, please.
Yeah, that's the poppiest metal hairdo I've ever seen, Tom.
It kind of looks like Missoula.
It does look like Missoula.
It kind of does, yeah.
Yeah.
I wouldn't describe him as a poppy hairstyle person.
but it looks more like him than it does you. That's for sure.
Oh, it's funny. I was making ones with Andy Beach, and it kept putting Andy Beach's face on my head.
That's terrifying.
Like it couldn't tell us apart.
I like the one. Let's see if I can pause it. There it is, right there. Somebody is actually using their phone so that the FaceTime screen camera is what's recording the stage.
They just didn't want it to be too high res. Yeah.
Maybe they're filming. Maybe they're filming how large the crowd is behind them.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe it's a friend on FaceTime.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, you don't believe where I am, and it's like, hey, you got me.
Yeah.
And that's the most realistic part of this. Like, oh, there's going to be putting in strange behaviors in videos is more realistic at times. It's like, why are you doing that? Oh, because you have 60,000 people in a stadium. Somebody's going to do something.
Yeah, people
weird.
are going to people. That's what it boils down to. And the fact that AI has figured that part out is terrifying.
Yeah, we're all afflicted of the disease of being human.
Except for the AI.
No. But it knows how flawed we are.
Yeah. We talked about the environmental consequences and kind of struggling with that, but do you all fear the AGI, the superintelligence, this is why Mark Zuckerberg is building his bunker in Kauai theories?
Tom, I'm a nihilist, so none of this scares me at all. I also don't believe privacy is real and security is a thing we can guarantee. So
yeah, I really wish you would believe privacy is real when the bathroom door is closed. Amos. It's not cool.
Tom, it's coming out eventually.
You don't need to see it.
So I don't know if I'm quite as gloomy as Amos, but I'm also kind of the opinion that it's going to happen, and I just need to do what I can for my corner of the world.
Yeah, when my use of AI overpowers corporate uses of gasoline vehicles, then I'll start worrying about it. But I don't know. And then I understand completely that's the wrong way to view things from an environmental point of view. But like my personal impact that I can control, because I'm only going to stress about the things I can control. I'm not going to stress about things that are outside my control. Within my control, I'm not the problem, which probably makes me the problem because I'm just like everybody else who is the problem.
And I've got a blank space and I'll write your name.
No, actually, Hammond, I've got my counselor would tell you the opposite. I'm often the problem in my own story.
I'm curious, Iyaz, where you come down on the AGI stuff.
Well, the biggest thing I'm having trouble with is education and where it goes. A lot of the stuff that I was trained on through school is a lot of brain work. It's a lot of, you got to think about complex items and make them work together. You got to harmonize disparate thoughts. It's difficult to do. It's a skill you got to build. And so like my son is 15. So I'm like, what is he going to learn in college? Like, should he go to a trade school instead? Because, AGI is not going to replace a mechanic right away. Unless you have a robot, whatever.
No, robots will do that. That's the next phase. We'll worry about that later.
Then somebody's got to maintain the robots and then the maintenance robots. But the thing is, there's always going to be a human somewhere in this. Well, maybe. But I'm trying to figure out like what careers you can have when all of these thought jobs disappear, because they could say corporations can just be like, and this terrified me when VO3 showed up. I was figuring we're going to see a bunch of movies from these stupidest people out there to go to the widest net possible, have no actors, and just produce garbage. Basically AI slop. So the brain work that used to be important, critical thinking, where people were wondering about things, people are just going to take the information from the AGI. Be like, yeah, that's my brain there. And I really am afraid of that, because I'm just going to say this. When people get stupid, bad things happen. So thinking critically and being able to develop those skills in one way is really important just for a human. And then you have the education part of how, it's like, are you gonna have a calculator in your pocket all the time? It's like, yeah, you are. You're gonna have this option. But if you can't work without it, is that gonna matter? Like, I don't.
That's always, and this is not me saying you're wrong, but that's always the worry. That's always been the concern, right? And every time everybody says, but this time it's different. So that's not me saying, don't worry. That's me going, how can we tell if this time is different or not? Because what usually happens is the new technology comes. We can't imagine how we will survive with the new technology because it's just going to replace everything, right? Oh my gosh, there'll be nothing to do now that we have the home automated with dishwashers and refrigerators. Like, what will people do with all their free time? And as you mentioned earlier, we tend to fill that free time. We figure it out. So is there something that you can point to, not you particularly, or something that we can point to and say, this is why it's different? Or is it likely to be the same thing where we can't imagine what we'll do once AGI comes because we've never had it before, and we'll have to have it before we realize, oh, this is what we do? Because one principle of humanity, I think it's overlooked, is our amount of critical thinking stays pretty solid. We just do it anyway. And yes, you can hone it and you can improve it. And that is important and people should continue to do it. But it's not like we were doing bang up job getting people to critical think before when they didn't want to. And you've always had critical thinkers throughout human history. So I'm not worried about that going away. It's more about, I'm more worried about the stupid people part, right? Because that's what happens a lot of time is something comes in and disrupts the normal order, and you get a bunch of people who don't think it through, reacting to it in ways that are destructive. And we've seen that with the advent of the printing press in Europe, and we've seen it with the advent of radio and television, and we're definitely in the middle of it right now with the advent of the internet, and probably going to get it complicated by AI. And I'll leave it to future historians to decide whether the AI and internet disruption are the same or two separate ones.
Well, you can always ask GPT what's going to happen.
what will happen in the future?
Tell us where you think this is going, and we will go the other way.
Well, and Tom's right, though. The critical thinking has always been on a spectrum. There's always been people who are hyper-critical thinkers, and there's always been people who are less than hyper-critical thinkers. And the fact that there is a spectrum, what it does is it gives us an opportunity to move back and forth and learn. But it also gives us an opportunity to slide if we get lazy. And I feel like right now we're at a point where there seems, I could be wrong, there seems to be a lot more lazy than there is the effort.
Is there, or do we just see more people and therefore we see more lazy people because we didn't see them before?
We get a larger sample size and a lot more people on
I don't know. I'm not.
No. And I'm glad you're there to ask these questions, because sometimes, I mean, look, my wife and my wife lives in a world of rainbows and unicorns, and it's a wonderful place to be. I just don't live there.
Yeah.
And
your wife and my wife are neighbors.
and if it weren't for her, I'd be in a doom and gloom world all the time. So the fact that Tom actually asked these questions to get us to kind of chuck me out of this line of thinking sometimes is actually really good. And I think the fact that we have people like Tom in the world to kind of chuck us out of these lanes of thought is actually really valuable. And I wish we had more of them. Just everybody had people like that.
We also have Christopher, who points out you still can't give Copilot an Excel workbook and help me put sheet 1 and sheet 2 together. So your job is safe for now.
Boy.
Yeah. And also we were mentioning earlier how we are learning. It's a learning process to use the tools we're given. And back when, the internet was fresh, you had people that knew how to do internet searches. They didn't just know the different calls, but they knew how to frame a sentence. They figured out how to frame the search to get more specifically what you were looking for, as opposed to just general knowledge. And now I think it's the same people that are, I don't want to say excited, but they're at least working with AI and the large language models, things like that, to build those prompts. The people that used to have Google Foo are now going to have LLM Foo, and they're going to be the prompt engineers that can actually make the thing that you want. Yeah, there's no, I was trying to vocalize it
Open
too.
foo.
Open foo.
Gemini foo.
But yeah, I think that's one of the ways that we still express that critical thinking, even with these new tools we have, and that's going to be one of those things that's going to be really important going forward. Just like, if you couldn't in 2005, if you couldn't adequately use an internet search machine, you were like, what are you even doing on the internet? Like it's a skill we all had to develop, and this is going to be another one of the skills that once we get over this initial phase of look at this mass explosion of this technology, we're going to have to develop that skill, and it's going to have to be a communal development of how to properly build the prompts.
One example I like to use is when photography came along. A lot of people said this is the end of art. We will not need to make art anymore, because now you can take a photograph and it perfectly captures and represents the person. And that's what art had mostly been up till then, was here's a landscape, here's a portrait, and what happened is we got modern art. Now you could argue whether you feel like it's valuable or not to have modern art, but art didn't go away. People started making things they would have never made before because all of the air in the room was taken up with, I need a portrait, I need a landscape. Now that you could do that with a photograph, suddenly people were like, oh, well, let me try this. You can't do that with a photograph because it doesn't exist. So whatever that is for AI, I think is where we go. And I'm not even pretending I know what that is.
So you're saying without the photograph, we wouldn't have Scott Johnson?
That's right.
Worth it.
I mean, we would, but I don't know, he'd be a morning DJ or something.
He would have run the morning zoo here in Salt Lake.
Assuming we had radio, but not photographs somehow. I'm not sure how that would work.
He would not understand what a pencil is. He'd be like, no,
I refuse. No, he'd just be a portrait.
For?
He'd be a portrait artist in Salt Lake.
He'd use oils in
canvas. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, well, gentlemen, this has been very good. I've enjoyed this conversation. I hope you have too. Before we go, Iyaz, let people know where they can get your stuff these days. I know you got PC Mag, but tell them not only about that, anything else you got going on.
Yeah, go to PCMag.com for my reviews and occasionally opinions. There's a lot of videos that I'm doing these days, which is cross-branded at this point, so you can see me at CNET, Lifehacker, Mashable, wherever we have stuff. So just check out different voices in our places, in our different zones. There's a lot more people than me, so definitely check them out too, because there's some. Check out Emily Forlini. I think
Emily Forlini, yeah, she's great.
She's awesome. She's at PC Mag. She covers AI and she's brilliant. So if you want to get in the weeds with that, check that out.
Fantastic. Amos, Hammond, you guys had anything to throw out there too?
Go ahead, Amos.
DTNS, daily music headlines, man. That's such a fun show. I do that on Thursday and Friday with Tom's wife, Eileen, and occasionally with Brian Ibbett when Hammond steps out, or he covers for me when I step out. But the four of us, with Tom's help, are just putting on this amazing 3 to 5 minute podcast every weekday about the music news. And like today we dropped 5 new music that came out, and I loved all 5 of them. Like I added all 5 of them to my playlist. It's a great little project we're doing, and we could use some more subscribers because we could use more feedback. So daily music headlines.
Yeah, go check it out. That's it's Hammond editing, Amos editing. We got the editing crew right here.
Who's working? Oh my God!
Oh no!
it's already published. Already put it out there. It's good today.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Hammond, obviously, daily music headlines. Anything? What else do you want to tell folks about?
I've been doing Beyond the Playlist now for almost 12 years. I did the math. I've done almost 800 episodes of that show, and then Soundography with Brian Ibbett, who's right there with Eileen.
Are they hosting a live
daily music headlines? Yeah.
And then I've been doing that. We're starting season 11 probably next month, and I love doing this kind of stuff, and it's great.
Excellent. All right.
Tom, what about you, other than here? What you got going on?
Daily Tech News Show, dailytechnewsshow.com, youtube.com/dailytechnewsshow, patreon.com/DTNS if you want to get everything we do ad-free, or Substack as well, dtns.substack.com, also ad-free. Thanks, everybody. We love you. Have a good weekend.
We do. We do love you.
Nothing Monday for the holiday. Tuesday.
Oh, yeah.
We'll see you Tuesday.
Nothing but Daily Tech headlines on Monday. Tell your friends.